Hello, this is Mrs. Hall. I'm going to be reading Document A, the Reconstruction Amendments. This is a modified version of those amendments, meaning it's just a little bit shorter than if you read the actual amendment itself. And it's a more simplified language as well. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the United States Constitution are sometimes called the Reconstruction Amendments. They were passed in order to abolish slavery and to establish the rights of former slaves. The 13th Amendment was passed in 1865. Section 1 reads, "Neither slave nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." Amendment 14, 1868. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Amendment 15, passed in 1870. Section 1. The right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Vocabulary. Jurisdiction, meaning legal control. Naturalized, someone who is made a citizen. Abridged, to limit. Immunities, rights. Now let's talk about what these mean. The 13th Amendment outlawed slavery within the United States. The 14th Amendment gave freedmen and women the right to be citizens of the United States. And in becoming citizens of the United States, that also meant that they were protected by the law like citizens of the United States. So that you can better understand what this means, I want to remind you when we discuss about the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott and his wife sued for their freedom in 1846. They filed a suit. The case would drag out for years and eventually end up in the Supreme Court. And part of the reason why they sued for their freedom is because with their owner, they had traveled to free territory, and upon returning to slave territory, they decided to file for their freedom. Once in the Supreme Court, it's decided that blacks had no rights in federal courts and therefore couldn't even file for their freedom. And that's because they were not citizens of the United States. Freed or enslaved African Americans were not protected by the law. So it created the system where you had a certain population that existed but didn't have any protections. So the 14th Amendment is significant because you see that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. And then they therefore have the same protections of citizens of the United States. Now let's take a look at the 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment has to do with voting rights. It specifically mentions that the right to vote shall not be denied or abridged, which means limited, by the United States or any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. So a freed person would have the right to vote, regardless of their race, according to the 15th Amendment. This is also significant because in 1870, the only people who could vote would be men. Women don't earn suffrage or the right to vote until 1920 with the 19th Amendment.